I mean, like, being realistic, I think our players are insanely talented, and I think all of them can achieve that potential that we laid out before of being top 1 in the region and being better than their opponent on G2. Every single one of them has that potential inside them. In terms of long term, what I want for our team, there's only one thing that I really care about, and this is our whole team culture is set around this idea, which is that I want my players and I want us as a staff as well, and this is something that I try to lead by example on, is I want us to be committed to making sure that every single day we get better, and I want every single player to leave Mad Lions or to end their time on Mad Lions, hopefully in like 10 years time, being the absolute best version of themselves, you know. And I want all of our players to leave Mad Lions being a better person than they were when they came. And that's not just about League of Legends, right? That's about being a better communicator. It's about being better at understanding what you need, how you deal with stress, how you need support from your teammates, like how you learn, all of these things which are crucial to being just a high functioning, high performing person. I want our players to understand those concepts and to have like thought about them and put time into self-reflection on how they can be the best version of themselves, right? And if we can achieve that, then we can achieve anything.
You've seen the grand gestures and the over-top speeches that I've done, but today I'm going to keep it a bit more casual, and we're just going to talk some facts about the Mad Lions. See, Orome, he hit different at the ERL level. His coaching staff praised him for being head and shoulders above the competition and making him an easy pickup. At the LEC level, however, I haven't been as impressed with Orome to the same degree. This isn't a smear campaign, it's an honest evaluation. Mad's goal is to build a roster that can contest G2 in every single position. Orome just doesn't measure up to the big 3 top laners. Yet. Like most top laners, Orome is getting the benefit of counterpick more often. That means the returns of bruisers and more opportunities for carry performances. I still haven't seen it, but that doesn't make Orome a bad player, just a team player. Shadow, on the other hand, has all the hallmarks of a superstar in the making. In the conversation of top 3 junglers, names like Selfmade, Jankos, Inspired, and Shadow enter the arena. And Shadow jumps and kicks to the front of the line on his Lee Sin. The question is what happens when he doesn't get Lee Sin. The Ivern was still that gank-heavy style, so while the tool changed, the intention didn't. What happens when the ganks don't work? Shadow is a role swap to the position and gated only by his inexperience. And this is a reoccurring theme for these little Lions, that they simply haven't had many chances to prove themselves. But every time they did, they showed up, especially Humanoid. Sent to Worlds in his first split, this man is a stone-cold killer, according to his coach, and he came crashing into the LEC in a big way. In tandem with Carzzy and Kaiser, these 3 are the core carries of this team. They are the type of players that can make the outplay, be the split-second decision in victory, which is something so uncommon in rookies. It used to be that mechanics were the bonus, not the bare minimum, especially not on support players, but Kaiser is clean and Carzzy is clever. This bot lane is redefining the meta and once again showing the world Europe's creativity. Previously, Splyce was just about a single X factor. Now the Mad Lions have a team full of them. So yeah, I think these little Lions have what it takes to grow into the next G2. But let's focus on the guy with the most pressure. It's Humanoid. Max said Humanoid is fearless, nameplates off. He doesn't care if it's caps or FLICKR, he'll go for the big play versus both, and he's done it, especially on his Orianna. He protects, he attacks, and he delivers his team snacks. On a champion usually considered as a defensive option, Humanoid is a true battle ball Orianna player, constantly hunting for plays and leading the charge. He maximizes the passive and does more than just lining up the shockwave. Humanoid exerts pressure in every game he plays, and yeah, in the past, that meant that he would die a lot in those side lanes, that he'd demand the attention and pay the price. But he has the skills to make you work for it now, and he's got the team to punish that trade even harder. It's Schalke versus Mad Lions, so take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Frosk. Yeah, very, very interesting things to hear from Mac. The Euphoria episode this week was actually really strong, in my opinion. Really enjoyed listening to his view on the team and how they're developing as a team. What are your thoughts about Mad Lions just generally at the moment, Ender? Do you feel they are showing us enough to be near the top at the end of the season?
I think they absolutely are, because of course, like Mac was talking about the individual skill and like skill ceilings of a lot of his players, which I do agree is quite high for a lot of those guys, but also just the creativity they've shown week in and week out. You know, debuting stuff like the Senna and the Wukong in the bottom lane, the Ivern just last week. I am constantly on the edge of my seat to see what it is that Mad Lions will bring us next, and that is sort of a staple of some of our best teams and the best teams we have seen in Europe. So I'm really excited to see what we get from the Mad Lions for the rest of this season.
And of course, we are on a new patch today, 10.13 or 10.13, as it is colloquially known. I think we both agree it's not a huge patch. It's not going to change anything massively. It's like love taps here or there, a couple of small changes. But maybe Mad Lions are seeing something that the rest of us aren't. Maybe they have some secret technology. Maybe Rakan mid.
Some dark technology.
Dark technology, and you see where I was going there.
We'll see if Dracos has been selling them anything in between the week. You know, we heard he was on the call with Max, so maybe a Kane.
I mean, Fiddlesticks mid is definitely the newest of the dark technologies. Kalista gonna get.
I'll take a rain check on that one.
Kalista gonna get removed. Wukong as well by Schalke. The Thresh taken away by Mad Lions, and we will give a word to Schalke, of course, sitting 0-7. Neon and Dreams are playing for them once again. They continue to try and use this 10-man roster to its full effect. Gilius is still in for them as well after he subbed in for Aatrox last week. And I think we saw more from Schalke last week than we had in the past, but still not enough to claim a win over Origin.
Yeah, and clearly they've got an idea for the draft in this game, which is just attack the power couple in the bot lane that is Carzzy and Kaiser. I saw the Wukong ban, I'm like, will they ban the Senna as well? And the answer needs to be yes, because my theory is that Senna plus Wukong is not the only wacky Senna combo that Mad Lions have ready for us down in the bottom lane. So Schalke don't want to have any of that funny business today, but do get their hands on the Varus. This is very interesting, seeing Mad Lions ban the Ornn instead of the Varus when they don't have their signature counter, which is the Wukong plus Senna to run into it. Now, the last time, or one of the other times we saw them leave the Varus open, they did run some wacky stuff like the Hecarim in the top lane. So engage is usually the option Mad Lions take into the Varus. And I'm curious whether it's going to come from the jungle or top.
So their comp on that day, I've just looked it up. Hecarim, Lee Sin, Orianna, Ezreal, Yuumi. Now, we don't expect to see Yuumi today, but Soraka still exists, right? And we've already got the Orianna and the Ezreal locked in. Max said in Euphoria, what do you need to beat Varus? Well, you need engage and you need sustain in the lane. At the moment, you have some good poke coming out from the Ezreal. A Soraka would give you the sustain, and then something like a Hecarim for that powerful engage later on. We'll see if Mad Lions decide to go down that route. For now, we know that Gilius is going to take the Lee Sin himself, so that is going to be denied from Shadow, one of his signature picks. Alongside it, the Nautilus will get locked in for Dreams in the bottom lane. One of his stronger picks, in my opinion. He's very good at these champions that have a bit of initiation, that have a bit of tankiness, and can kind of lead the charge for the team.
Yeah, a lot of good engage options to play in and around that bottom lane. Now for Mad Lions, expecting them to lock in a jungler here. Volibear would not surprise me at all with the Lee Sin already shown. I think Voli is a very nice answer into the Lee Sanger. Of course, can duel against him very solidly up in the early game. And honestly, I think scales a little bit better into the mid to late game team fights. Now, I say that, and I'm like, Shadow's Lee Sin scales just fine with the insane kicks he's able to find, but I do like it when he gets on that Volibear as well. And of course, holding out to see whether or not Orome could take that, but everything I've seen, it's been like Voli only in the jungle so far, and I think stats from solo queue and around the world will also back that up.
Yeah, I think Volibear hit just the power from the jungle, especially if you have some CC in your lanes or some disruption in your lanes. It's really strong at just getting early ganks and then, as you say, enabling dives and enabling late game team fights. Mad Lions will remove the Azir from the pool. Abbedagge played that twice already this... sorry, he hasn't. He's only played it once already this split. In fact, that was last split. Sorry.
He played it. Yeah, because I'm looking at it, it's like, yes,
he played it the last time they played it. Last time they played Rogue in Spring Split, and they won that game. So that was great. Good job, Abbedagge. Hasn't played it this split. Gangplank's going to get taken away.
Distant
as
memories
well
for Schalke.
I mean, any memory where they weren't on a 7-game losing spree is a good one for Schalke. The most recent summer season has not been kind to them thus far, but in spring it did take them 7 games to get warmed up, and then they beat G2, who were at the top of the table at the time. So maybe that is a portent of what is going to happen today.
Yeah, it's the symmetry, you know,
Yeah.
It's beautiful seeing it split to split. Whether or not they find the win, we'll have to wait and see. Now, Orome ban and also the Quinn ban. I mean, if Quinn's banned, Odoamne is just going to pick Renekton, right? Because, like, Quinn is the Renekton counter pick, and Odo also played the Quinn into a Renekton, I believe, into Alphari's Renekton last week. It didn't go super great for Schalke overall. They still ended up losing that game, of course, but I feel like MAD Lions know exactly what they're walking into in the top lane now.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a pretty good grasp on how things are going to look. It's going to be Yuumi, Ender is going to be Yuumi. Now, this is basically exactly the same composition as they played last time. If they give me something with strong engage in the top lane, I love it. You predicted it, Ender, great job there. But Yuumi, of course, was nerfed on 10-13. Her E now costs 15% of her maximum mana alongside its mana cost.
On top of, on top of, you know, basic mana cost there. So it could be the same comp, but it's a different Yuumi down in the bot lane. Her win rate tanked by 4.5%, which is a big deal. And of course, I think, you know, the higher elo you look, you know, Yuumi will look better and better, but still a big surprise, I think, to see it busted out on stage here today for the MAD Lions.
See, I agree with you if it was any team but the MAD Lions. But because it's MAD Lions, I'm not really surprised by what they decided to do anymore. Like, they could pick, I don't know, Bard top here, and I'd be like, yeah, sure. They're the G2 of the current age. They are the ones who are changing the draft. They're the ones that are inventing new things. And we are all just along for their incredible safari that has been the MAD Lions zoo so far. Schalke will lock in the Galio in the mid lane for Abbedagge alongside Renekton top. And it's going to be Aatrox top for Orome, we expect.
Oh no, I really don't like how Schalke have gone for the rest of this draft. I mean, they have options to try and play through bot lane, you know, like they have strong laning champions, but the fact that they've locked in 4 melee champions into an Ezreal, Yuumi, and an Orianna is almost like they're doomed in later game team fights unless they're able to find some really nice pile-ups into the backline, which I do not think is the easiest thing to do here. So it went a little bit off kilter here, I feel like, for Schalke in the second phase of picks, and I really gotta say, I favor what MAD Lions have coming out of this draft.
I don't think that's too much of a surprise. Schalke have a few options, but you've got to catch Carzzy. You've got to get on that backline later on, or you have to be so far ahead that Carzzy isn't able to shred through your front line. We'll see if Schalke are able to do it, or if MAD Lions will continue their winning spree and send it to 7 games in a row as MAD take on Schalke. And I'm going to be really interested to see exactly how this game goes as we jump on to Summoner's Rift for our second one of the day. Ender. There's a big question I think we have to ask. And I think it's a very important one for us to ask because a lot of people are wondering if Schalke will be our next 0-18 team. A lot of people are wondering. And my question is not will they go 0-18. My question is, will they go 0-9? Halfway there, halfway towards greatness, joining only Origin at the top of the table of losers, but still the top of the table. You guys can vote in chat right now, yes or no. Will Schalke go 0-9? Will they go all the way to the halfway mark of the split without picking up a single win?
It is not a question that you want to hear, especially if you are a Schalke fan, but I think it's a fair one to ask at this point, and especially coming out of this draft and facing against the MAD Lions, you know, 6-1 currently, won their last 6 games in a row. It's not looking great for Schalke, but we'll see what they can do here in this early game. It's actually really interesting to see how MAD Lions have approached this, putting down some wards, thinking, hey, Gilius on this Lee Sin, does he go red buff straight into some sort of invade? They want to catch any sort of late invades coming through from Schalke, make sure they don't get cheesed. And I think if Shadow doesn't get cheesed early on, he's completely fine to do whatever he wants on this champion in that Volibear. And he's actually gone for a sweeper himself too. So I don't know if he placed the ward and then swapped over and it's back up now, or if he started on that one. I didn't quite catch that, but it does give him a lot of room here to try and control early vision for the MAD Lions.
I will say the vote is unsurprisingly one-sided. 88% of people saying that Schalke will go 0-9. I'm sure Neon Dreams, Odoamne, Abbedagge, and Gilius will want to prove all of
I mean, it's unfair. They can't vote right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because they would be like the 5 people that would vote no.
But we've got like at least 10 people voting no right now.
Yeah, right.
I assume there's only about 100 people in Twitch chat right now. I assume.
Yeah, there's not that many.
Anyway, early on, Neon and Dreams are going to get the push in this bottom lane. It is Lethality Varus with the Arcane Comet. It's just it's the regular build now. You don't really see the press the attack on hit Varus anymore. You're always looking for this extra poke damage, the long range damage, and then using that Chain of Corruption to CC people up. Gilius is trying to get up towards the top lane here. Could just look to steal away the Krugs, but could also look to try and chunk out Orome. And I like this from Dreams. If you have early push, getting that ward in, knowing that both the blue and the Gromp are down, gives you so much more information on where the enemy jungle is likely to be.
Ooh, this is really bad news here for Orome. Odoamne, level 3, fully stacked Fury there on the Renekton. Now we'll see Gilius on the ward, and Shadow is trying to come up here to try and save him, but it might be too little too late.
The Ruthless Predator stun lands, and there is the Sonic Wave. First blood comes in. Abbedagge doesn't even need to assist Gilius, though. Straight into the face of Shadow. And the bear is the word as Shadow flashes forward, swipes one more claw, and sends Gilius back to the jail. Back to the fountain?
That's the worst feeling in the world. Yeah, for jail.
Well, because it's Police Bear Volibear. It's Police Bear Volibear. So it's like, he sends it back to jail.
Oh, I see, I see. Yeah. Okay, sure. We'll go that route if you really want to. We can do that. But yeah, that's the worst feeling in the world for poor Gilius. You know, he sets up a nice dive in the top lane. He's working with Abbedagge, and then he just gets slapped in the face by Bear, and that is no fun at all. So early lead does get diminished just
Sorry, I just realized that's the quintessential Flash Bear slap.
Yeah, it's a Flash Bear slap. I mean,
he flashed, he's a bear, and then he slapped Gilius. It is the evolution.
He like electro slapped him, you know?
Tasered him.
It's
he
like,
tasered him.
It's Bear Slap 2 electro.
That's a good one, Ender. Good joke. Pepe laugh. Anyway, Gilius going to look to try and take down this Scuttle Crab in the bottom side. Shadow gets one off towards the top. Gold pretty much even as Gilius obviously died even after they got that first blood. But there's a slight lead for Schalke. I like the proactive start. Gilius here going to step in. Could look just to steal away the Gromp. Doesn't pop the Scryer's Bloom or the Explosion of Vision as Ender called it last game. It means that he will not be sighted as perhaps they look for a dive underneath this tower.
Yeah, Gilius playing super aggressively, and I love this too. When you have the Galio in the mid lane that can get a pretty solid push via the Q and also the passive, trying to set things up. Of course, as he makes that venture down bot side, he spots out Shadow, so the pings are coming through, and that's going to make the dive a little bit more difficult. But I wonder if Shadow actually knows what's going on. He's just getting underneath the tower as soon as he spots out Abbedagge, and not going to risk going back into his jungle until he can make sure it's safe.
It looks like Schalke will call off the dive. They retreat back towards the river, but Odoamne is going to jump in here, looking for the slice and dice. Orome does have flash, will flash under the tower. Odo, you could have gone for that, my man. You could have tried to get it. Perhaps wondering if the Aatrox passive was up. It would have been a lot of healing if Orome had managed to get that auto attack down.
I thought you were going to say, I wonder if like Aatrox passive was up and he could revive or something.
No, that's
like,
old school.
Dude, that's like 4 years old.
However, this is really good for Odo, right? Like, there's no TP on Orome. There's now no flash on him. Odo's going to get a free plate, pushes the wave in, and then can back as the wave will slowly push back towards him.
No doubt about it. No doubt. Now, here's the thing: is it's a really weird feeling because I like what Schalke have been doing so far in this early game, especially Gilius and Abbedagge tag teaming. Of course, Odo winning topside matchup. But the more I look at their draft, the more I kind of hate it. Because like in picks and bans, I pointed out like, oh, they've got a lot of melee champions into like very good kiting options over from the MAD Lions, but they also are primarily physical damage. So Galio's really the only magic damage that's going to be coming into the mix, and Shadow isn't really going to be worried about getting hit by him. So in theory, MAD Lions can stack a lot of armor, go for stuff like ninja tabbies as well, which is going to cut down the value of a full lethality Varus so substantially. Varus needs to be paired with more AP champions than other ADCs because he is so much more hard countered by, you know, small amounts of armor than any other AD carry in the game.
And yeah, it's going to be very difficult for him to actually get the damage down that he needs to. And like you talk about MAD Lions and their power generally and their ease of itemization in this game, they are one of the best team fighting teams in the league right now. They are so good. They get about 1.7 or 1.8 kills for every death they have in team fights, but they also find a lot of kills outside of those team fights. Just a very bloody team. Always really enjoy watching them just because of how many avenues they find for action, how many times they are able to catch their opponents out of position.
And it's always the poor little Varus that they'll always leave open that's dying in and out of team fights both. So Neon's definitely going to have to be on his game today, because you consider an Aatrox and a Volibear kind of scary when they're running at you as the Varus, but when there's a Yuumi on top of them, that probably goes for a very early Mikhail's Crucible to completely invalidate that Varus ulti, and also give those two champions move speed and that long range engage via her Q as well as her ultimate. Like, that is a very scary prospect for this little lonesome Varus, whose teammates aren't as much about peeling him and are much more focused on diving the enemy back.
Yeah, Neon is the sacrifice this game. It's like, okay, in the time that it takes them to kill Neon, can we kill Carzzy and Humanoid? Because if you can, then that works out well for Schalke. You know, they have got the early Infernal Dragon. They have a slight gold lead, about 1,000 gold ahead right now because of the plates they've been picking up. And Dreams looking for a roam here towards the mid lane. Now, Abbedagge just cleared out a control ward off towards this top side. Humanoid's going to come across. Gilius, protected by the fact he knows his mid laner can get prio in the mid lane, has started up the Rift Herald. And Schalke actually pretty strong on getting these early objectives. Humanoid's actually going to solo out this blue buff, while Shadow clears the top side of the map. Maybe even looks to stop Odoamne diving in, perhaps expecting Gilius to come across here and look for that dive on Orome, who still doesn't have his flash. But Gilius instead is settling for the Rift Herald.
I actually really like that move coming through from MAD Lions, and I don't think any play is going to happen. Of course, you know, both Shadow and Humanoid, 0 mana. Frankly, no one on their team has mana at the moment.
Here we go, Ender. It's going to happen.
I'm waiting.
It's going to happen.
I'm waiting. Here we go.
Wave in with the kick. Gilius flash kicks him back, and here comes Odoamne, the Galio from downtown. A heroic entrance for Abbedagge, and a heroic KS at the end of it as he gets his first kill of the game.
What I was going to say is I like the idea of having Humanoid solo the blue buff, because then Schalke would think that Shadow is on the bot side of the map leashing it over, but it doesn't matter because they send 3 people up top lane. Shadow's just watching his top laner fall down during that play, and once again, it is Gilius plus Abbedagge, and now you're starting to see some of the theory of keeping Gilius in this roster here for Schalke. You know, if him and Abbedagge have been, you know, scrimming the past 2 weeks and whatnot, having a lot of success moving around between these lanes, it's definitely showing here in this game against MAD Lions.
I mean, it's just, it's a much better Schalke than we've seen for the first 3 weeks of the split. They seem to have found a combination that works for them. I will say, against Origin, they had a similar strong start. They were pretty much even with Origin through the early portion of the game, and then the game just got away from them. And here comes the final chapter. Neon got a flash away early. There's the death charge, but the Stormbringer coming in, and Dreams misses the hook on the bear, but the teleport will bring Odoamne to the fore as he looks to try and catch out Shadow. And Shadow is sent to the Spirit Realm. Odoamne now down here had the TP advantage. They knew Orome couldn't join, but this will give Orome just that little bit of time to get some plates in the top lane.
Yeah. So the kills are traded, but it's still a big win for MAD Lions. Of course, you said it, you get the TP out of Odoamne, but also there's an entire wave being denied in that top lane currently. Orome is going to have some free time to whack away and secure at least 1 turret plate. And as I say that, Carzzy ended up recalling in bot lane too. So I think overall gold-wise, it will end up being fairly neutral when all is said and done. But with MAD Lions now having that bonus teleport option to make some sort of move, they're just going to have to keep in mind the fact that Abbedagge has a TP of his own, and also will be able to access his ultimate once again very short.
I want to pick your mind about something here, Ender, because that's 2 times we've seen Gilius and Odoamne make a play. So they made the top lane play where they killed Orome, and then they made that bot lane play, of course, where they killed Shadow. And both times they've had pressure on the tower and elected against using the Rift Herald. Now, we're 11 minutes into the game. They do still have a few options to use the Rift Herald, but to my eyes, I was like, well, if you used the Rift Herald here, you could have broken the tower and got those all those plates guaranteed. Is there a reason you could think of that they're holding off on using that Herald?
So I think the play in the bot side, Carzzy actually stuck around for 1 wave there, so I think Gilius was just assuming like he could actually stick around for longer, and you don't want to drop it down there when it can be contested. Ideally, you use that when no one's there, so you can knock down the entire tower. Now that he has it though, with a potential fight, you know, on the horizon, he's gonna need to pop it in mid lane or risk dying and then completely having the buff expire if this fight goes down around the mountain break.
Yeah, because I mean, something we've talked about in the past is I think it was you. Prefer if it's used to break open mid lane tower, just because it gives you so much more extra space on the map. Right?
Yeah, mid lane's always preferred, but it's unlikely that you can fully destroy the mid lane turret with that Rift Herald. So here it ends up just being, I mean, I guess Mad Lions just going to back out of this one. You look at overall itemization, I think Schalke are going to be favored at this time in the game. So Mad Lions going to, you know, just toss that one over towards Schalke's way. And then they're going to be looking to contest on this third, which is the Ocean Drake, and could be a big one for Schalke to get. That's the way they win this game, I feel like, is playing for the Ocean Soul.
So Rift Herald has eventually been used here in the bottom lane, but Shadow and Carzzy can just stop it. They'll look to try and break the eye before it gets in. It gets the charge, but will not take down the tower. Feels like it's a little bit of a waste, but still Schalke with about an 800 gold lead or thereabouts.
So I think the big difference there with that Rift Herald is I don't believe that Neon and
Yeah, I don't think they got the gold
to pick up money. So I think Gilius just got all the gold. So they still get the gold, like that's fine, but it's all going on to Lee Sin, which is less than ideal because in a game like this, you're trying to funnel as much as you can onto the Varus because if Varus is ahead of the curve, that should net you a lot of teamfight wins if he's able to get there early, start putting down the poke. Of course, his E has a lot of inherent value into the Yuumi within fights because it drops down the Grievous Wounds passive, which can slash through her healing. So it's all about making sure Neon can be in an advantageous position. And, you know, he dropped a couple hundred gold right there. That would have been great on him.
Definitely would have bolstered up his itemization early on. Game 5 today is G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. The return of Pinoy, previously on Gambit. He's been dodging around to some ERL teams in the recent past. I think he played for Nordavind for a while. A team in the NLC, I want to say. But we'll see if he can carry that team from the AD carry role. I mean, at some point, this is a joke, by the way. I'm just prefacing that for Twitch chat before they say Medic says G2 AD carries are bad. I mean, they're going through so many AD carries other than new TSM. That's the big question I want to ask. But the final chapter comes out as Abbedagge is forced away here. Shadow's going to do a lot of damage, and the shockwave misses, but the final slap from the bear will get the kill.
Well, I will say the Volibear Yuumi combination a little bit better than yours and Comedy. Now, I think that showed
I just don't understand it, Ender. I just don't understand Comedy.
It's like it was a long walk, and I don't really know why we had to go there, but we did it in the end. Now, Shadow and Kaiser are going to be doing this a whole lot. We've seen this so much with Yuumi's, especially when it's Yuumi Ezreal. Mid-game, you know, once lane phase breaks down, just forget about it. You know, you don't want to pair up with that Ezreal anymore. Instead, it's going to be with Shadow to take control of the river, and now a TP into mid.
Humanoid has flash and cleanse. He's going to cleanse away from the Chain of Corruption, then use the flash. The dredge line is dodged. Humanoid puts on his dancing shoes to get away from that one. The TP was cancelled, I believe, from Orome. Odoamne must have gone in with the Predator. And we see once again why a lot of people are saying Humanoid is the best mid laner in our league right now. He's having a stellar split.
Yeah, Humanoid been completely on fire so far. That's my favorite meme coming through. Yeah, we lost Umayan, and now we've got Humanoid. You know, so we always have to have one Uma here in the LEC. Now, coming out of the play, Schalke will be able to find themselves this Rift Herald one more time, and this is the one that should be used to break down that middle lane tower. And the great news about picking up this Rift Herald at this point in the game, 2 minutes before that Ocean Drake spawns, is this is when Gilius really does want to hold on to it, because now that turret plates have fallen down, you're not really pressured to pop that one down, you know, very soon, because there's no, like, value you lose by holding on to it. Instead, Gilius should hold on to that to set up to get guaranteed midline priority right before that Ocean Drake does spawn, because again, with this comp that I do believe will end up getting outscaled by Mad Lions, Schalke are going to need to play for the 23-minute Ocean Soul, and if they can get that, that puts them in a wonderful position, and the Rift Herald can help them out.
Oh, they're definitely fighting for it right now, as there's a minute before that dragon comes up. That'll be their third of the game. Carzzy's going to look to try and take down this turret in the top lane, but needs to clear out the minions before he can get any closer to it. And I don't think we've really seen this Yuumi fall behind from where she used to be, right? Like, you expect to lose lane into Varus Nautilus anyway. You're going to get pushed out early on. She's got a huge amount of mana regeneration already, and it's just going to build up further and further. Orome pops the World Ender in the top lane to try and get away. Dreams hooks a minion. Yeah, his hooks haven't been entirely on point so far today, but hopefully he can step it up. Or maybe he was just sending the minion a message.
I think he was just too slow to get there. That wasn't really a mechanical failure. Like, Orome was just, like, able to run away faster.
Sure. Could have waited for the minions to go past.
Sure. I think you have to pull the trigger right there, though, because they didn't necessarily know where the rest of MAD Lions was going to be. So I think Schalke just focused on setting up for this Ocean Drake. Again, they are here with mid lane control. Want to see that Herald go down. That's going to force someone from MAD Lions over to check it, but so...
In goes Shadow, stopwatch used by Abbedagge to try and keep himself alive. The route onto Humanoid on the back line. He's kicked back into the team and straight into the face of Neon. Good play from Gilius to find the man that he was looking for in the fight, and now it's a 4v5, but MAD continued their advance. That Yuumi healing up the bear. As Shadow steps forward, there's the Rift Herald. Neon looking for a long-range arrow, can't quite connect with it. Odoamne seen on a ward here down towards the bottom side of the fight. Schalke can just back away and go for the Ocean Dragon, try and shepherd the Rift Herald into mid lane, because MAD have to answer it, and they will turn their eyes towards the Dragon.
This is exactly what we wanted to see from Schalke. They just got a little bit bonus on top right there. Gilius had a phenomenal kick onto Humanoid, who he knew didn't have Flash or Cleanse because Schalke just made that play on him a couple minutes ago. They then drop down the Rift Herald and get themselves this Ocean Drake. So we are looking at a 23-minute potential Ocean Soul. And because Schalke have played aggressively and primarily through Gilius and Abbedagge, they've been able to build up what is on paper just a slight lead. The control they've had around objectives actually makes this a much more meaningful, 1,500 gold lead than what you would traditionally think.
Oh, definitely. Both Rift Heralds, 3 dragons. They've been in a really strong position, and Gilius once again showing why he so often gets into LEC teams. There's always the meme of like, Gilius does poorly, then it's God Gilius, and this is 100% a God Gilius
Then
play.
it's Kickus. Yeah, this is God Gilius for sure. Let's see how he actually gets into this one, because he bides his time, lands the Q on towards Shadow, and then, wow. So he uses Shadow as the taxi there into the ward hop flash kick on towards Humanoid. Really nicely done by him to find that play.
Yeah, really well done by Gilius, as you say. 2,000 gold lead now for Schalke. Itemization-wise, we have the Glaive complete on Neon. Proto Belt into Zhonya's on his way for Abbedagge. Blade of the Ruin King finished on Odoamne alongside that Executioner's Calling. So Schalke are hitting their power points, but so are MAD Lions. You can see the Manamune already completely stacked. Seraph's already completely stacked on Humanoid before the 20-minute mark. He is building up towards... Well, we'll see what he goes for next. He's got a Blasting Wand and an Amplifying Tome. I'm wondering...
Yeah, so if I'm guessing, I think it should be Leandri's for Humanoid, and then Carzzy is going to be going Iceborne Gauntlet, which makes perfect sense against Lethality Varus and double AD champions as well. Here goes Shadow top
He's just
lane.
so quick, he's running in, but the hero's entrance. Odoamne, call an ambulance, but not for me, as Shadow has to run away. Carzzy coming in from the bottom side of this fight as well, looking to land those Mystic shots, but can't quite find the connection he wants. And Schalke able to get out of the fight underneath the tower and force MAD Lions away.
Yeah, a lot of ults burned right there, so should end up stalling out for a bit, but Schalke with total control throughout this topside jungle and still have pick tools even without those ultimates. They're maybe trying to fish around for that. I would like to continue talking a bit about itemization here because, we wanted to have the talk about lost chapter items last weekend, didn't end up getting that opportunity. This is a perfect chance because Humanoid went for the Seraph's Embrace here on the Orianna, which is a fine item, right? It gives you scaling, gives you a lot of anti-dive protection, which does make sense when you consider, a Galio and Lee Sin are trying to jump on your face. But I prefer, when playing into multiple melee champions, Hextech GLP, because then you have so much control within fights via Hextech GLP as well as Ezreal with that Iceborne Gauntlet. You can keep those champions at arm's length, and Schalke will lose every team fight if they cannot reach the backline of MAD Lions. It's just unwinnable for them unless they're able to touch and get their melees on towards that dive. So I would have much preferred to see Humanoid mix up his build just a little bit and go the GLP route.
Yeah, I totally understand that. Well explained, and it gives us a good overview of exactly why that item might have been more efficient in this situation. And it's so refreshing to see Schalke get to sort of this portion of a game and still be challenging, right? Because across the last few weeks, they've really, really struggled. And to do it against a team like MAD Lions, who have been so dominant and so strong and have only lost one game this split, and that was in week 1, day 1 against G2. It's really great to see from Schalke. And MAD, I mean, they've shown us they can fight back. They've shown us that they're good from deficits, but these are the sort of games that really prove you have tier 1 caliber, right? Because it's not about the games where you dominate from the start to finish. It's about making sure you beat the teams that you should beat. If you're not taking games off teams that are this far below you in the standings, if you're not consistently beating them, you can't consistently challenge the people around you as well.
And there will be a reckoning in 70 seconds when this Ocean Drake spawns, because I don't necessarily feel like Mad Lions want to go for that fight just yet. You know, yeah, Humanoid and Carzzy just finished off some items. Orome going to be waiting on his. So, you know, not looking as bad necessarily as it was just a moment before. But again, the key thing to keep in mind is, are Carzzy and Humanoid able to kite out Schalke? If yes, they win the fight. If no, that's where things are going to look rough. So Schalke, Gilius has his flash up, is going to be looking for some sort of insane kick one more time. These are the ways in which Schalke can look to keep things in their favor.
One really good thing for Schalke is look at that bot side wave. Look at how pushed in that is. They have so much control of that. Mad Lions are giving up XP. Top is pushed in as well.
Look at Gilius on this flank. Gilius is all the way underneath the river, just trying to wait for Mad Lions to
There's a control ward in the pit though. However, he's snuck into this bush. Ocean Rift helping him out just a little bit, giving him more places to hide. The god, omniscient, omnipotent, as he watches over the fight beginning to start. Odoamne clears out a control ward. Shadow trying to get in. Dreams is going to hook himself away. Gilius still waiting. Bated breath, Ender, bated breath.
He's in the bush that spawned because the Ocean Drake.
They don't know, Ender.
Oh,
they don't know. But it's Shadow. He runs forward and Shadow's going to try and get onto him. He stuns him. Oh, Gilius. Oh, no. He gets caught out as Humanoid takes him down. Gilius saw his moment. He saw the opportunity to try and catch someone out, but Shadow was there with a thundering smash with pause to think about what he wanted to do and pause to make the stun work. Shadow will be able to secure the dragon. The Ocean Soul is stopped for the moment, and Carzzy isn't done yet. He jumps forward to Dreams, the final chapters. Gonna boot him up as well, but the True Shot Barrage comes out. Odoamne exhausted straight away. Shadow jumping in with the Stormbringer, and the chase is on. Odo caught up here as the hero's entrance comes down. Schalke just trying to disengage as Mad Lions continue on the chase.
Oh, it's just a complete disaster there for Schalke. That was their fight. Gilius was in a prime position, but ended up jumping in, unable to even use that kick in the play. Shadow just CCs him up, and he instantly falls down. So, hey, we're at least 5 minutes away, and that is the worst news Schalke fans have heard in a long time, because this game was theirs to win, but now that they have to, you know, donate 5 more minutes over the Mad Lions, well, they are only going to get stronger and stronger and stronger relative to the comp that Schalke has put on the table.
And you can see some of that armor coming in for Mad as well. Ninja Tabi on Orome, on Shadow. You have the Iceborne Gauntlet, as we said, on Carzzy. And looks like he might be going towards Death's Dance still, even though it was nerfed for AD carries on this patch. Or for ranged champions, technically, on this patch.
Yep. I think, so a lot of ADCs have still been taking it, you know, like the likes of Aphelios and Ezreal did just get the life return halved. There for ranged champions in particular. So I would actually not be surprised to see, especially like Ezreal players, maybe transition over, especially because Carzzy has gone so CDR heavy in his build already. You know, he has 20% from the Iceborne Gauntlet. He went for the Lucidity boots. So stuff like Blade of the Ruined King could make a bit of a comeback for the time being. But from what I've heard, AD carry players still think it's pretty strong overall. And who's to blame them? You reduce a lot of damage. That's nice. You get a lot of free stats. And again, armor against an armor or against a physical damage stack team.
It is Shockwave. He's going to be able to jump away. There was a moment there where I thought he could jump in, but he's 4 levels behind Humanoid.
Yeah.
So Orianna, Humanoid's signature pick this split is pretty darn devastating if it can get any time to put some damage down on you.
This is, it's such a, it's a sour feeling, because I feel like Schalke did play a really solid 20 minutes of game, and the game is still close. Like, I don't want to write them off just yet. Again, they're going to have one more big opportunity to try and, you know, maintain control over this game when the next Ocean Drake does spawn, even if it is just Gilius going in to try and steal that away. That does give them some amount of options as we go in towards, you know, later, you know, end game fights around Baron, around, you know, these team bases. But now Kaiser has also got himself to Mikhail's Crucible.
Oh, Humanoid. Gilius going for it.
Okay.
Oh, he can't quite get him for the kick. He kicks him in the wrong direction. Dreams hooks a minion. Oh, the Wolves are on Mad Lions' side. And right now, Schalke trying to find this fight, but Humanoids are forced out towards the back of it, and here comes Orome from the side. Abbedagge has to flash away. Dreams caught up in the midst of the Mad Lions. And Kaiser takes the kill. Prowling Projectile will chase Odoamne out. Tries to get back in with the Blade of the Ruined King for the movement speed. Will use the slice, doesn't have the dice, and Shadow finds the connection. He goes gold and saves his own life. As Schalke run back to the safety of their tower, Mad Lions will turn their eyes towards Baron.
Okay, I might be ready to write Schalke off in this one. They tried to make the play happen. Gilius came in with the kick. It went left. Dreams' hook went right. The communication was not there. The execution did not come through. And now Mad Lions will be able to secure themselves this Baron on top of it all. That's very likely going to mean they get the next Ocean Drake, and that's going to be it for Schalke, unless they can come up with a steal.
Abbedagge is going to try and get into that pit, but there's 5,000 HP left on the Baron. It's getting chunked out so quickly by Humanoid. Of course, that Leandri's helping out just a little bit here. Gilius looking for the steal. Has the smite, but disengaged from Mad. They jump straight onto Neon. Carzzy, he's found his prey, and the hero's entrance will just catch him on the side. Abbedagge quite tanky right now, but the taunt isn't going to do too much. Gilius jumping in. Oh, he could jump onto Carzzy, hit the Sonic Wave, but he doesn't follow it up, and now Dreams is on the front line. He's dead as well. Teleport coming from an Odoamne, but you're chasing a losing battle. You're throwing just the game pretty much right here as Odoamne tries to get onto Carzzy. You just can't catch anyone. Mad Lions are too powerful right now, and Schalke continue to run face first into the meat grinder, and that's just not a pretty look.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gilius ends up living at the end of the day, but I'm with you. I say you land the Q. Your body's telling you yes, you go for it. I don't care if Yuumi has heals. You can see Kaiser out of mana at the end of the fight. Those are the nerfs at play. Watch the replay, because this is the start. And again, it's Schalke looking for the play. Gilius slow on the Warthog, ends up committing the flash, but can't quite find the angle with Humanoid hugging that wall, and then it's all doomed, because again, you're 4 melee champions on the run against Ezreal with Iceborne Gauntlet, against an Orianna as well. It's just completely doomed as they try to run away, and Yuumi will eventually catch you. That is just the nature of the champion. That's why drafting this way is not going to work for Schalke unless they win every single fight and snowball super quickly. So Mad Lions now in prime position to set up for this Ocean Drake, and one more time, Gilius, can you find a steal?
And Mad Lions were so good at peeling off it last time. The flank is on here from Odoamne and Abbedagge, but they're forced off by Orome. Humanoid. Gilius gets into the back of the pit, but there's still 4,000 HP left on that dragon. He's going to have to jump out. Just about gets out in time. Champion corruption used onto Carzzy. The fight off the top side. Humanoid's almost down, but he manages to survive. And the Yuumi and the heals are just too much. Gilius is dead. Humanoid's alive. And there goes the dreams of Schalke as he falls as well. 13 kills to 4, about to be 14 to 4. Mad Lions, you gave Schalke a little bit of hope, but it's 0-8 for them today.
There's nothing to be hopeful for if you are Schalke right here. Mad Lions have destroyed them one more time. Get the Baron on top of this almost certainly. Mad Lions, they come out on top of the team fights. I can't say it wasn't predictable, but it happened there for Mad Lions once again. Carzzy able to kite out during that one and stay afloat.
It was close until it wasn't, Ender. And Schalke had a couple of opportunities, a couple of misplays that really cost them this game.
It was the river play. It was the river bush play that Gilius is sitting in there looking for the flank and could not find it. So, hey, we can look at this fight one more time because Gilius goes in super early. I don't know if his ward actually had vision of the dragon right around the wall, but regardless, gets instantly blown up while the rest of the team tries to dive in towards Humanoid. And here's the thing, if Gilius is playing with the rest of Schalke, if they say, let's just go for the fight, they will kill Humanoid right there, but instead Humanoid lives, he gets healed up by Kaiser's Yuumi, and I mean, what's that? After your damage is blown, you have no sustained DPS because you have a lethality Varus, you have a Galio in the mid lane, you only have burst options, CC options to pick off one person, and when that does not work, you instant lose. I
will say that Neon wasn't there for the fight either. He was just isolated down towards the bottom side of it, so Schalke really missing any of their damage options. Abbedagge here. They're going to have a bit of alcove gaming. He pops the Ghost to try and get away, but Orome slows him up. Justice Punch will get Abbedagge out of the zone that Orome is looking for, but the World Ender means the Darking Blade will connect way too easily. Heroic entrance!
What?
Here comes the true shot! Oh, no, he's going to get away? Final chapter? Still killed by Carzzy in the end. Gilius almost goes down as well, and Shadow's just tanking up the tower here. He has a cat on his back for good measure. He's found himself a pet on Summoner's Rift. And right now, I think we see that Yuumi is still pretty busted if you put her on a bruiser.
Between the towers.
Who cares about the towers? Shadow deliberately put that so it didn't stop the tower from attacking him, just to have that mental edge against Schalke. Just a little bit more salt in the wound. Now he's going to tank up the tower.
I can't wait till we see
he's standing under the tower.
His HP, all his tank items have basically turned off towers in this game, so he's allowed to do that. That's totally fine. He's picking up the wave because, again, there's another tower up there that he needs to kill while his team is dancing inside of the Schalke base.
Oh man, it's like, this is the Mad Lions that we have seen throughout the entirety of the split. They find a few opportunities and then they just snowball the game away from you. They are looking increasingly like one of the top teams, if not the best team in the LEC right now. And you do feel a little bit sorry for Schalke. Like the start of this game actually looked really good from them, but draft was always going to get away from them. Scaling was always going to get away from them. And when you give Mad Lions an opportunity to get back in the game, they're going to take it with both claws.
I just don't know what the best strategy is to run to Mad. Like, if you're Schalke here, like, I do respect to some degree saying, like, hey, let's just put a lot of faith in Gilius and Abbedagge and make plays early on. Let's try to, you know, run through Mad Lions because we know Mad Lions are a phenomenal team-fighting team. Maybe it's not favorable if Schalke just run, you know, a standard comp with Corki or Azir in the mid lane and like, you know, DPS backline with tank front line, you know? Like, that probably doesn't beat Mad Lions either because we've seen them decimate that style of composition time and time again. And again, Schalke, very solid early game, but unable to come up clutch when it mattered most around that fourth Drake of the game. And unfortunately for them, Humanoid is now fully online. Mad Lions ready.
When is Humanoid not online? And let's be honest, he is having...
When he gets his Mejais.
Yeah.
He actually has... So Mejais for Humanoid is the power trough, right?
It's his own personal death note. It's his own personal death note. Doesn't realize he keeps writing his own name in it by accident. Mad Lions, they're going to push in this bottom lane. They are 8,000 gold ahead, 17 kills to 4 up. Dragons don't really matter too much because we're so far away from an Ocean Solve. Mad and Schalke are never getting near that hit again. 2 inhibitors down, Mad Lions trying to do this one by the numbers as they look for the third and final inhibitor. Shadow does have his ult, could jump in with the Stormbringer if he wanted. Orome is pushing in mid lane, just getting those minions up towards the Nexus towers, meaning Schalke have to split, have to answer it. And Mad Lions in a very good position now as the minions pushing. Gilius jumps forward and Gilius dies. The hook misses again from Dreams. Oh, okay. Never go fishing, Dreams.
His Nautilus could use some work.
Dreams plays Animal Crossing and just never catches anything. It's like, oh, they just always keep getting off the hook. Puts it in the wrong direction. Mad Lions here, 420 up as they add one on towards that. 10,000 gold lead for them, and this has turned into a demolition. Mad Lions styling on Schalke, and Abbedagge has had enough of this one as he jumps on out of the action. There goes the Nexus. Mad Lions' 7-game winning spree continues.
Honestly, Mad Lions, keep leaving the Varus open. I love seeing teams lose when they draft Varus. I kind of enjoy it here with the Mad Lions. It's a little bit of a different style. They took a bit longer to come online, but once it got down to those team fights around the Drakes, they were able to win out in the end. Still, I would say, like, there are things to be critical of Mad Lions. You know, Shadow tried to show up a lot for these counter dive attempts.
Like, did you see how cool they look? That was the Squirtle squad right there from the Mad Lions.
Did Carzzy just put on
They all
sunglasses?
did. They all had sunglasses on.
Oh, no.
It's the Squirtle squad, man. It was really cool.
There you go. Never mind. Perfect play from the Mad Lions and a perfect finish with whatever that
And whoever
was.
you thought was the most perfect, you can vote for at LEC on Twitter in our Kia Pog vote. Shadow, Humanoid, and Carzzy are your options. These guys, the problem is they're all just so good that it's difficult to pick out like who was the best of them all because they're all just playing exceptionally well right now.
I'm sorry, I just saw.
You're
like,
unable to hold it in. Is that what's happening?
I can't hold it. I can't hold it. I love it.
Well, Mad Lions just secured their 7th win in a row, and in a few minutes we'll hear more from Carzzy.
FC Barcelona players eat veggies?
No, they don't.
Hey guys.
That's a sponsor,
I
Dad.
think it will be a tough one, but we are ready.
What? Come on.
Do you still have those carrots? Of course I do.
Getting them to eat healthy takes a long time. Beko Harvest Fresh preserves vitamins for longer by simulating the natural 24-hour sun cycle. Beko, eat like a pro.
And welcome back for week 4 of the LEC. As you can see, the MAD Lions with the win moment here. And I have Carzzy with me to talk about the game. So, Carzzy, tell me, what's up with the sunglasses? Because I want to join the club. Like, why did you do this?
You can definitely join the club. So these sunglasses, they are not sunglasses, they are 3D glasses. And we have them for, I don't know what, but we have them. And we decided to wear them.
Good stuff, good stuff. I love how you guys come up with like something funny at the end of each game. But like talking about this one, you guys didn't have it at first. I mean, it was a good early game and mid game from Schalke here, but it almost feels like they tripped at one point and never managed to fight you after that. So what was the turning point of the game here? This is very weird during the interview like this, by the way.
I can say anything as well. So,
no.
Yeah, they played early game comp and they had to punish us because we were playing 3 scaling picks and 2 early game picks. Mm-hmm. Our early game pick on top went a bit into Disneyland, so that wasn't ideal. They got a lot ahead in the early game, and then it was kind of hard to play the game. But since it's Schalke, we knew we are gonna outskill them and we are gonna win.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap between these two teams here. And something that I noticed looking at the draft, they banned Senna and Wukong. And I mean, to me, it says a lot about what teams can expect and can't expect from you. So when you see something like that happening in draft, what do you think about the way other teams perceive you and are afraid of you?
I think all the teams are scared because we can play literally anything except Varus, you know. We definitely don't play Varus, and no one has to ban it. Also, guys, I don't know why you're banning Senna because we can't play anything else with Senna. Well, I don't think anyone can outdraft us because we can play anything.
Well, and giving tips to the other teams. How manner of you, Carzzy. And last point I want to mention with you, I don't know if you saw the Euphoria segment with Mac. He was talking about personal development for players. And when we look at Mad Lions right now, you guys are on top of the standings, confirming what you started in spring and showing even more personality. I mean, the way you're doing right now on social media, we can see that the team is clicking the right way. So what can you tell me about your evolution as a player and as a teammate since the beginning of the split?
So I became less childish, that's for sure. I also became better teammate. We all became more friendly towards each other, and now we rely on each other more. It's also a lot of fun playing in this team, and I think we just fit in as a personalities as well as a players. So it's a lot of fun playing this team.
We can all see that you're having a lot of fun together, and I mean, it's a delight to see. So thank you very much, Carzzy, for the interview, and congrats on winning against Schalke. We'll see you tomorrow. And for now, we are going to take a break, and we'll come back in a few minutes with Fnatic taking on SK Gaming. Stay tuned.